James Carville just blew the whistle on his own party with 4 words nobody in Democrat media can unhear. Overeducated little white turds. When even Carville is screaming that the activist class inside the Democrat Party despises normal Americans, you're not watching a debate over messaging, you are watching a communist takeover out in the open. Now, the stake here is constitutional America itself. Ted Cruz ripping the mask off and said socialist is too soft because these Democrat Socialists of American radicals, they want to abolish the Senate, seize property, and let the House appoint the president and Supreme Court. Hakeem Jeffries heard the communism charge and still snapped back. We're taking back control. Well, there it is. Power first, country last. And that is how republics get gutted from the inside while party bosses and their media servants keep selling the lie that it's just fresh progressive energy, right? You see, James Carville exposed one confusion machine tonight, and seniors on Medicare face another at home. Big Insurance runs a Medicare confusion industrial complex to keep people stuck. Chapter cuts through it. They're simple by design, one simple call, and you get matched with an advisor who advocates for you, not Big Insurance. No activist class jargon, no propaganda, just facts. Chapter looks at your doctors. Chapter looks at your prescriptions. They do a whole situation review and lay out your best plan options with no propaganda, just facts. If your current plan is right, they'll say so. If not, they can help you switch. The average of $1,100 saved gets attention, and it helps. The help is free. It takes about 20 minutes. That's it. Call the number on your screen there, 910-728-4109. Stop letting bureaucratic games box in your family and your choices. Now, here's the part that should chill every American family. See, the surge is already showing up in Democrat primary polling. The communist wing is rising. The establishment is sinking. And that means the crazies are no longer knocking at the door. They are taking the keys. Here is James Carville going nuclear on the Democrat Socialists. He says these people are paternalistic and it's a bunch of overeducated little white turds.
I'm going to read something to you, and I'm going to tell you why this is typical. A progressive House candidate who served in a battleground district in Michigan as long Democratic Party officials once said black U.S. political leaders are a pillar of the capitalist and imperialist American establishment. Yeah, Jim Carville is part of that. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly who Martin Luther King was. Yeah, you're right. That's who John Lewis was. And these people are paternalistic, and it's a bunch of overeducated little white turds who think they know more than other people know, and they know what's wrong. And they're going to go and then you got, they're talking about indicting Netanyahu. And that the problem is you have a candidate, a DSA candidate in New York saying we should be against interracial dating. Let me tell you something. These people, and these are to all my black friends and people like me, they think they know more than you do. They think their history is more glorious than yours. They think that Lenin was a more glorious human being than Martin Luther King or Frederick Douglass. That's what they really think. And if you know that, you don't know your history. And you should view these people with extreme skepticism, because they think they know what's better for you than you know what's better for you. And they think they know your history better than you know their history. This asshole don't know what he's talking about.
James Carville phoning it in from his bed, it looks like. But we have more. He just said out loud what Democrats usually hide. Their party is crawling with smug left-wing ideologues. Now Ted Cruz takes it further and says these aren't just socialists, they are communists.
Socialist is not even the right term. These DSA radicals are communists. They're open Marxists. They're calling for ripping up the Constitution. They're calling for abolishing the United States Senate. They're calling for the House of Representatives to appoint the President and the Supreme Court. They are calling for property confiscation. They are calling for government ownership of companies and taking over the economy. This is, if you look across the globe, whether it is communist China or communist Soviet Union or communist Cuba or communist North Korea, communism produces misery, poverty, suffering, and death. And the dynamic we've got is most of the Democrats, they don't fully agree with it right now, but they're looking at their party and they're saying, the young people, the crazies, the radicals, the energy, the money, that's where it is, and not a one of them is willing to say, these people are bat crap crazy.
That's Ted Cruz. I wonder if he's going to be throwing his hat in the ring for 2028. I'm guessing he will. But he lays out the warning in plain English. The radical wing is driving the Democrat agenda. Next shows why, with new 2028 polling putting the Socialist faction in the driver's seat. Early 2028 Democrat primary polling is out. The Socialist wing is surging. The Democrat establishment is sinking.
Normally would be this would be the first primary, but the Democrats haven't even decided where their first primary is. I don't even think New Hampshire's in contention to be the first primary.
Did you see Kamala Harris in that list, guys?
At the bottom.
She's fallen, even though she's been topping polls nationally. But look, it's early. You're right, though. Nevada will probably be the first, or South Carolina. We'll see. There's a lot of way to go. But I think that what you can glean from all polling is that the Democrats have a socialism problem. You see that in the primary candidates winning. You see that in the polling. And if there's a socialism ideological problem, who does that mean prevails in a primary where it's only Democrats voting? It means someone like AOC, someone like Bernie Sanders, someone from that wing.
Did we get reaction from AOC about topping the poll?
Wow.
This normally would be
someone like AOC, someone like Bernie Sanders, someone from
AOC about topping the poll.
We did. She was pretty thrilled about it.
Hit play.
There was a UNH poll that came out that had you surging in 2028. Mm-hmm. When you see that, what do you think?
I feel very, humbled by the support of everyday people. I think that, polls go up, polls go down. That's kind of part of how all of this works.
Why do you think yours are going up right now?
You'd have to ask folks in New Hampshire.
Right.
You'd have to ask them.
But does that change how you think about your future?
I think when I make decisions about my life, they aren't just rooted in polls. They're rooted in what people need, what is best for the country, and what is appropriate for the moment. And I think that right now, the most important thing before the country right now is for Democrats to win the midterm elections. That's why I have put the energy that I have put into it.
Wow.
She's got two options.
Wow, that's terrifying to consider. But the numbers point to a party rewarding the AOC Bernie wing, not rejecting it. Next, the White House press secretary makes the threat official, calling out self-proclaimed communists rising inside the Democrat Party from the briefing room earlier today.
Well, unfortunately, we don't seem to have too many of those left in the Democrat Party. We have literal self-proclaimed communists who are winning elections and who are claiming to be the new leadership of the Democrat Party. I think the vast majority of Americans understand the dangers of communism. Just look at countries all over this world. As an example, Cuba right now is a country that is about to be a failed state because of the communist policies of the past several decades. Communism should never be allowed to lead this country, and the president obviously is strictly opposed to it and all the dangers that it reaps. We've seen it happen across the world. Meredith.
So it's not just conservative media saying anymore. Even the White House briefing room is naming the problem. But when Hakeem Jeffries gets asked about the communist label, watch how he dodges and goes right back to chasing power.
Speaker Johnson's almost taken a page out of your book lately and talking about similarly, Team Normal versus Team Crazy as it relates to communism. How do you break through that message?
It doesn't seem to be working if you actually look at the reaction of the American people in terms of who is on the verge of taking back control of the House of Representatives. People are desperate.
People are desperate, he says. Well, he won't confront the radicals because Democrats still think they can ride the machine back into control. Next, President Trump warns exactly where the free stuff pitch leads: squalor, destruction, and death, from his EPA summit today.
We can't be hoodwinked. We can't be taken advantage of by people that say you're going to have a free home, you're going to get free rent, everything's going to be free. What they don't say is a year later, everything is going to end up in squalor, destruction, and death, and also death for our country. So we have to stop the threat of the communist rhetoric that you're hearing right now, because these people, they don't act. I'm very happy a poll came out. It said they're highly educated, but doing very poorly. In other words, they're losers. They went to school, they got a good education, now they don't know what they're doing, so what they do is they complain about people like yourselves that have done so well. But we can't let the communist ideology we don't want to even think about it for this country. It would be terrible.
Be terrible indeed. Trump draws the line against communist rhetoric and the bait and switch behind it. Then you'll hear a Democrat nominee say the quiet part aloud, calling for more immigrants in office to remake the world order. Democrat nominee Milat Kiros admits the goal is to build a new world order through electing the third world.
I think it's particularly important, not just for our community in Tigray, but communities of the global South, period, right? There's a certain reckoning that we are going to have with the global world order as it exists today, and the way that it fundamentally will have to shift going forward, right? The responsibility that we have as Americans, the recognition that is going to be required of us, of the exploitative and extractive nature that we play on the global scale and the global stage, is only going to be challenged if we are getting represented by people who understand that on a fundamental level, right? And that means getting more immigrants into office. That means getting more people who have heritage in the global South into office, because that's where those decisions are made specifically.
So it wasn't a gaffe. It was the agenda delivered in public, and the final image brings it home, with Democrat socialists marching under their own banner and daring the country to ignore what they really are. When treasonous groups tell you what they want to do, arrest them. That's the meme. And the Democrat Socialists of America, terrifyingly true, is surging in the United States, and it's only you and I who can stop them. So James Carville did not invent this smear from the outside. He confessed it from the inside the Democrat bunker, when he called the activist class paternalistic and overeducated little white turds. Hakeem Jeffries still wants power. Milat Kairos still wants to reorder the world against America. And that is why Donald Trump is right. Their fake freebie gospel ends in squalor, destruction, and death. So it's up to us to force the issue, make every Democrat answer a plain American question. Do you stand with the Constitution, the Senate, private property, borders, and national loyalty, or do you stand with the radicals that James Carville just exposed, the communists that Ted Cruz named, and the globalists who think America exists to be humbled? Drop your take below. And send this report to one person still trapped in the fantasy that this is just harmless campus chatter, and keep the pressure on Hakeem Jeffries until he answers for that sneer and power grab. Carville's overeducated little white turds confession is exactly the kind of crack in the wall that YouTube loves to bury. So text White House to the number on the screen, 844-840-4963. Our Next News Network team works credentialed inside the White House, and the reports we pull straight from the building hit your phone nightly before the censors and algorithms can smother them.